So I made a video a couple of months back talking about selling my ROG Ally X and getting this thing, the Lenovo Legion Go. And I kind of went over some of my reasons as to why I did it. Primarily, I kind of highlighted this device's screen and just how amazing it looks. You know, it's high resolution, all that good stuff. But there was Black Friday happening. And so pretty much a couple months ago around Black Friday, I went ahead and got a open box ROG Ally X. So this thing was on sale during Black Friday. It was like $100 off. And since this was open box, it was even more discounted than a brand new one. So I said, you know what? Why not? I'm gonna go ahead and give this thing a second chance. I've been reading some of the comments on my last video, and then I did see, a few people saying, "Oh, you were wrong. Ally X is better battery life, yada yada yada." So I went ahead, bought this thing, and I've been using the ROG Ally X along with the Lenovo Legion Go for the past, I want to say almost like month and a half, pretty much since Black Friday. I'm filming this in January now, so yeah, I wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts about both of these again and see, was I wrong? Was I wrong about my decision of selling my old Ally X and getting the Go, or is the Go better? So that's what I wanted to go over with this video. I do have some different opinions, and I mean, my overall thought is that it's even a harder decision now than it was before. And there's also been a increasing competition. I mean, we got new handhelds coming out. The MSI Claw AI 8 is looking pretty good. That one's rocking Intel chip, so it's going to be a little bit different in terms of performance. These are both the same chip, the Z1 Extreme. We just got the Legion Go S confirmed. That's also coming out. That's going to have some new variants, the SteamOS model. It's going to have the Z2 chip. So, I mean, there's lots of competition coming out, so I'm very excited about that. But I did just want to primarily talk about these two handhelds right now, along with, seeing if it's worth getting these, either of these, with all the new stuff coming out. So, let's go ahead and get started. Starting with the Legion Go. Some of my opinions did change a little after using it for the past couple months. There's one thing I didn't really talk about in my old video, and that was the weight of the device. I kind of brushed that part, but it is pretty important to talk about. Obviously, I did talk about ergonomics and how it does feel better in your hands. When you look at the back, you got a lot more room to kind of grip your hands through compared to the Ally X. It's definitely not as prominent. Your hands do kind of slip after a while, but the Ally X is a lot lighter. It's a lot easier to hold. It's a lot more portable. You can hold it like this when you want to grab it, all that stuff. But the Legion Go, you definitely need to have big hands, and the weight is definitely something to consider, especially depending on how you use it. Of course, I like to use it in different scenarios. One of them is, when I'm chilling in bed, I'll lay it out like this. And, after a while, yes, it does get a little tiring. You do gotta reposition your hands once in a while so that way they don't cramp up and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it is heavy. It is a heavy device. And yeah, I mean, there was also another scenario that, I kind of, I guess, preferred the ROG Ally to, and that was when I like watching YouTube. Sometimes I'll lay in bed and I'll kind of be sideways in bed, and I'll hold the device like this, which isn't really the best position to hold it in. You're putting a lot of strain into where these controllers are, which of course they detach. So, depending on the position you hold it, it could cause a lot more strain, and it could potentially even break that railing or how the controllers connect. So that's kind of where I've been preferring the Ally X, because it is, one, device. It's not detachable in any way, so I'm able to a lot easier hold it this way than I am with the Go, even though I could still pull it off with the Go, but there's a lot more risk to it with those controllers coming off. So that was another thing that I noticed. And yeah, but going back to, or I guess moving forward to some of my bigger concerns with the Legion, is I honestly forgot how good the software is on the ROG Ally. I mean, Armory Crate is so much snappier than Legion Space. It's not even a competition. Like, I can spam this the entire time and it will always open and close. Like, it is so smooth. And then on the Legion, you know, it's definitely a lot more slower, you know, all the fancy animations. Like, don't get me wrong, they look nice. Like, I do love all these graphics that they have, you know, with the controls and all that, but it's definitely not as smooth. Like, I can't spam this button, which is supposed to open this control panel. It's kind of similar to the ROG, and where you can like tweak all like your brightness, your different power profiles, all that stuff. I mean, you know, it is not as snappy. You cannot spam it. And this is me. I kind of tweaked my performance modes to be similar to the Allies. So you have like your power savings, like your low power. Then you have, I did like a balanced one. I liked having a custom 20 watt. This is for any AAA games that, you know, I want to maybe save a little bit more juice, maybe not get the full frame rate, but get enough that it's still playable. And then obviously you have your performance. So those are kind of the profiles that I have set. And, you know, even using this in the power saving mode, which pretty much sets all these to, you know, efficiency, quiet, all that stuff. I mean, it's even less snappier. Like, going through the UI in certain things is definitely a lot less annoying, or it's a lot more annoying. So I mean, just kind of small things like this are starting to bother me more with the Legion. And I mean, just going back to the Ally, like it's so snappy. Like everything just kind of works more seamlessly, which is definitely the better experience for me. And also, they have been updating their drivers a lot more, which is something I never really kind of considered, because with the games that I was playing, everything was working fine. But I did recently get Xbox Game Pass, because I was like, you know, why not? They're giving the free trial. Let me go ahead and try it out. I wanted to play the new Call of Duty. I went ahead and did that. And on the Ally, everything kind of ran flawlessly. I mean, I was getting, you know, not really any like stutters. Everything was running good. I was able to get into games more. And just look at the driver version. Like right now, this is updated to pretty much one of the later ones, November 15, 2024. And then if you go ahead and look at the Legion, I think the Legion only just updated their driver recently. And before that, I think it was on a different older driver from like the beginning of the year. I mean, even now it's not really that updated, July 16, 2024. So that's kind of the latest official driver, unless you want to get into sideloading official AMD drivers, which is a whole different other territory. But for me personally, I don't really want to go through stuff like that. I think that, you know, software wise, companies should be supporting with their latest drivers and not, you know, half a year out drivers kind of thing. So that's something that's really been bugging me about the Legion, and honestly it makes me worried about the Legion Go S. If they're not even able to maintain their current product, the Legion Go, who's to say how long Legion Go S support will last? Will the Legion Go S come out with a newer driver? I mean, this is all kind of stuff that is pretty important that you don't really kind of see until you actually get the product. So yeah, I mean, those kind of categories, the Ally X has definitely been kind of winning, and you know, it's definitely been kind of changing my perspective about kind of what I want from a device. Obviously, you know, I want to be able to game and not have to deal with any sorts of driver issues. I just want my games to work and for them to work well. And with the Legion Go, it's been kind of painful, especially with newer games. Maybe you'll get away with having older games playing fine, But if you want to play like a newer Call of Duty or any sort of new games that are coming out that, you know, maybe have to use the newer drivers for compatibility, for better optimization, I mean, you're just not gonna have that with the Legion Go. You're gonna have to wait more, or you're gonna have to go through the side loading driver route, which is definitely not fun. And you know, if you mess up, you gotta. It just takes a lot more steps that you really shouldn't have to go through. So I mean, definitely the Ally X has been kind of leading more towards me in a way. I've been definitely using it more. The battery life has also been pretty nice. I do like the 80 watt hour battery. I think that should be the new standard now. With any sort of new device coming out, I think the Legion Go S is still coming out with 50 watt hour battery, I believe, so it's not really improved. I don't know if maybe the chip will be more efficient so that it won't drain as much. That's all speculation though until the actual thing comes out. So yeah, I mean, definitely for the most part, if you're debating between these two, yeah, the only thing that kind of really differentiates them, number one, is obviously the screen. I still hold my opinion that the screen on the Legion Go is better. Even though it doesn't have VRR, I still think that it's a better screen. Everything just looks nicer. It's bigger. Just the visuals on it look better, and I think it also gets brighter too. At least from like if I were to raise the brightness on both of these all the way, and I think this one already is up all the way. I mean, yeah, I want to say that the Legion does get brighter, and it looks, camera fell, and it just looks better. It's a higher resolution, of course, higher refresh rate, all that stuff. Now, something I wanted to mention again with the Legion Go is these like little details that you have to make in order to kind of use this device. You know, that kind of comes automatically with the Ally X. And I believe I talked about this in my last video, but one of them is having joystick support for Windows. I personally like using the joystick more than using this touchpad, even though you can obviously get away with it, but I just, you know, I personally like having the joystick, so you don't really have this functionality out of the box with the Legion Go. I had to download this app, or not even download, I had to purchase this app. It's called Controller Companion. It's on Steam. It's only like $3 or $4, so it's not that expensive. But it's just something, it's a third-party app that you can download, and it allows you to use your joystick. But you know, this is something that I think that Lenovo should add into their software. That, you know, the Ally X, it comes standard. It comes standard with really good joystick support. Obviously, it doesn't have a touchpad, so it kind of had to. But yeah, I mean, it works perfectly. It doesn't enable when you're playing a game, and you know, once you're done with the game, it turns on, and then you could go through Windows like that. Obviously, you're still getting the smaller screen though, which doesn't make Windows as good. But I mean, you know, it's definitely better with the joystick support. And another thing that I do have to mention is speakers. Speakers on the Ally X are better than the Legion Go. With the Legion Go, you kind of have to also tweak with it a little bit. I had to download this other app. It's called FX Sound. That's where it is. And with this one, you kind of have to tweak the equalizer and go through some different things to make the sound better. And I mean, it does help it a lot, but you still have to go through that kind of tweaking with this. Like, you still have to tweak it. While the out-of-the-box speakers on the Ally X sound awesome, don't have to really change anything much. So like, out-of-the-box experience, like the software on the Ally X is better. Like, I'm not going to deny that. I think Legion or Lenovo needs to work on their software a lot, especially if they're going to keep making new devices. I mean, they need to be able to support their old ones. So, you know, that's something very important that me as a consumer, I want my devices to last for a long time, and that's kind of the route. I see the ROG going that route more than the Legion. So Yeah, definitely important to talk about after using both of these devices now. And another thing I want to mention from my past video that I had to deal with is kind of button squeaking. That was one of my main negatives with the Ally, is that it kind of felt cheap in terms of some of the buttons and them squeaking. So obviously this is a different unit than the one I had before, and I mean this one is a little bit better in terms of buttons. They do feel better. The D-pad I remember squeaked on my last one. This one works fine. I've been using it for the past couple months, and yeah, no squeaking here. The one buttons that still did squeak was the triggers, both the left and right back triggers. So I did go ahead and take this thing apart, and I did lube up the triggers, so now they don't squeak anymore. So I still think that's a negative. I shouldn't have to do that as a consumer. You know, these shouldn't have to squeak out of the box. And yeah, just something that to be aware of. This unit was manufactured in August 2024. Maybe the newer ones have better, I don't know, loop through these triggers that makes it not squeak as much, but that is something that, you know, you should still consider with this device. And then with the Legion, there wasn't really anything like that. All the buttons feel fine, they sound fine. Definitely better buttons on here for sure. And I guess the other pro for the Legion is you have Hall effect analog sticks, so these should last longer compared to the ROGs. These are not Hall effect, they're traditional ones, so not sure the longevity of these. You could obviously replace these in the future. I believe that they made the board and everything here a lot easier to replace, but yeah, just something to consider. So I mean, the second thing that you probably have to consider with these is the price. I got this, obviously, like I said, open box with the Black Friday deal, and I think I paid $700 or less. That was after tax. This one is obviously going to be cheaper. I don't remember the exact price. I'll put it here. But yeah, this was also on sale. So price is probably going to be the biggest thing between these two. Is, you know, depending on how much you want to spend. Do I think that the battery life upgrades are worth it? I mean, definitely. Like, you're definitely going to be getting more playtime with this than the Legion Go. You know, you could get, depending on what kind of games you're playing, if you're playing the newest Call of Duty, you know, you're getting at least 2 hours minimum of playtime, and that's even talking about like using the turbo mode, which uses all the watts, things like 25 watts. Or you could even get more battery life if you do like a custom 20-watt mode. So that's like a, you know, important thing if you want to go for longer play sessions. This is the way to go. Even though you're sacrificing on-screen quality and all that, but you're definitely getting more playtime with it. So yeah, it's that's kind of the advantage with the Ally X. You're also getting that more RAM, 24 gigabytes of system memory compared to 16. 24 is definitely better, especially with the newer games. They do use more VRAM, so it's pretty important to have that extra leftover VRAM. With the Legion Go, you kind of have to play around with it more. You know, depending on which game you're using, you could set different VRAM limits in the BIOS and all that. I think I've been running 6 gigabyte on this, or you could set it to 4 auto. I mean, it honestly depends on the game. So yeah, that's the other thing. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty tight comparison. I'd say if you're looking to buy a new handheld, the Ally X is definitely still really good, even in 2025. I don't know if I can recommend this one anymore, just because there's a lot nicer handhelds coming out now. Talking about, I guess the Legion Go S. I'm sure it's going to be improved in terms of performance and ergonomics. Maybe it's going to be not as heavy. You will lose your detachable controllers though, I believe. So that kind of sucks if that's something you were looking forward to. Although honestly, I haven't really detached these that much, unless I straight up just use this as like a tablet, which you can definitely do. But yeah, so this is my kind of updated comparison between these two. I would say, again, if you want something longer lasting, more software support, then yeah, get the Ally X. You're not going to be disappointed. It's a great device. But with that, I'm going to be wrapping up this video. So, overall conclusion of this is depends on what you're looking for. I'd say if you're looking for a new handheld, ROG Ally X. If you're looking for something that's cheaper, probably this is going to go on a discount again. Get the Legion Go. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this revisit of both these devices, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.